The frequency of awareness. God, thank you for the life you are living through me. Guide my thoughts, direct my words, and govern my actions. Remove anything within me that will interfere with what you are seeking to express. Let this message reach the person who needs it. Let it awaken something they may have forgotten. Use my life in service to life. You are the life living me. I am the light. Amen. There's a difference between being alive and living awake. You can be breathing, walking, working, talking, and handling responsibilities, yet remain unaware of the life happening within you. You can move through an entire day without ever truly entering in it. The body is present, but the mind is somewhere else. It is replaying what happened yesterday, anticipating what might happen tomorrow, or reacting to circumstances without ever pausing long enough to ask, what is actually happening within me right now? That question brings us back to awareness. And to be aware is to be alive. I don't mean alive only in the physical sense. I'm talking about being awake to your existence, awake to your choices, awake to your thoughts, awake to the presence of God as the life living you. That is what I call the frequency of awareness. Now, when I use the word frequency, I am not trying to make this complicated. I'm describing the inner state from which we experience life. Fear has a frequency. Gratitude has a frequency. Resentment has a frequency. Love has a frequency. You know this because you can feel the difference. You can walk into a room where tension exists even if nobody has said a word. You can sit with someone who is at peace and feel yourself begin to settle. Our inner condition affects how we speak, what we notice, how we interpret people, and what we bring into every environment. But awareness is different. Awareness is not simply another emotion passing through us. It is the presence that allows us to recognize the emotion without becoming imprisoned by it. I can feel anger and be aware that anger is present. I can experience fear and recognize that fear is moving through me. I can notice an old thought without automatically obeying it. That recognition creates space, and inside that space, I get my choice back. Without awareness, I react. With awareness, I can respond. Without awareness, yesterday speaks through me. With awareness, I can hear yesterday speaking and decide that it will not answer today. That is freedom. For many years, I lived without that freedom. My addiction did not begin with the substance. The substance was the symptom. Underneath it was disconnection. I had become separated in my awareness from the spirit of the life living me. Life never left me. God never stopped living me. But I was no longer conscious of that presence. My attention was consumed by the disease. What I wanted, what I feared, what I was trying to escape, and how I could change the way I felt. The more I fed that awareness, the larger it became in my experience. Whatever we consciously place our awareness upon, we strengthen within ourselves. That is why awareness matters so much in recovery. I have a disease from which I receive a daily reprieve, but I do not have to make the disease the center of my identity. Today, I feed my awareness of the spirit. I nourish my relationship with the higher power living me. I practice becoming conscious of love, gratitude, possibility, service, and the miracle of being here. The disease may still exist, but it no longer gets the seat of authority. Awareness decides what gets fed. On the night I surrendered, September 25th, 1991, my external life had not suddenly changed. Every consequence was still there. The wreckage was still real. I did not instantly know how my life would be rebuilt. but something within me changed. I became aware that my way was no longer working. That sounds simple, but it was one of the most powerful awakenings of my life. As long as I believed I could control everything, I could not receive help. As long as I kept defending my way, another way could not enter. Surrender was awareness without argument. It was the moment I stopped fighting the truth long enough to be reached by it. And when I became willing, grace get me there. That is why I know awareness can change a life. It changed mine before my circumstances had time to catch up. We sometimes believe transformation begins when our conditions improve, but transformation often begins the moment we become aware of how we are meeting those conditions. You may not be able to change what happened. You may not be able to control what another person chooses. You cannot return to yesterday and rewrite the scene. But you can become aware of what yesterday is still producing within you. You can notice the resentment before it speaks. You can recognize the fear before it makes the decision. And you can observe the old identity trying to pull you back into a life you have already outgrown. And once you can see it, you no longer have to be unconsciously controlled by it. What I can witness, I do not have to worship. I can witness fear without bowing to it. I can witness shame without calling it my identity. I can witness an urge without turning it into an action. I can witness yesterday without allowing it to become my prophecy. Awareness does not mean we never experience difficult thoughts or feelings. It means we stop handing every thought the microphone and every feeling the steering wheel. Not everything that rises within me deserves to lead me. Some thoughts are echoes. Some feelings are old survival patterns. Some reactions belong to a version of me that did not yet know what I know today. Awareness allows me to say, I see you, I understand why you are here, but you are not qualified to decide who I will be in this moment. That is higher powered living. It is not denying our humanity. It is becoming conscious enough to choose what we allow to put our thought in. The question is, how are you feeling? The question is, what is life seeking to express through me now? Maybe life is seeking to express patience through you during a difficult conversation. Maybe love is asking you to listen without preparing your defense. Maybe courage is asking you to take the next right step before you feel completely ready. Maybe surrender is asking you to release something you have exhausted yourself trying to control. Maybe forgiveness is asking you to stop drinking the poison of an experience that has already ended. We cannot hear that guidance clearly when our awareness is buried beneath noise. That is why stillness matters. Stillness is not emptiness, it is availability. When I become still, I am not trying to force God to speak. I'm becoming quiet enough to recognize that life that has never stopped communicating through me. Sometimes guidance comes as a clear thought. Sometimes it comes as a peace around a decision. Sometimes it is a discomfort that tells me I am moving out of alignment. Sometimes it is simply the knowing that I need to pause before I speak. Awareness makes me available to that guidance. And it begins with something as simple as noticing the breath. Right now, your breath is moving. You did not have to command it to enter. You did not negotiate with life for the next one. Something greater than your conscious effort is sustaining you in this moment. Pause and recognize that. You are not manufacturing life. You are receiving it. That awareness changes the way we carry ourselves. It softens the illusion that everything depends on our control. It reminds us that we are participating in something sacred. I am not the source, but I am an expression of the source. I do not create the light, but I can remove what prevents it from shining through me. That is the frequency of awareness, the inner state in which I remember who I am, recognize what is happening within me, and become available to what God is seeking to express. Awareness is not something we practice once and complete. We forget, we react, we fall back into yesterday. We become distracted by appearances. But when we notice that we have forgotten, awareness has already returned. There is no need for condemnation. Just become aware. Realign. Choose again. That is the practice. Before you reach for your phone in the morning, become aware that you are alive. Before the news tells you what to fear, remember who you are. Before yesterday gives you an identity, place your hand over your heart and say, God is the life living me. Then ask life, what are you seeking to express through me today? Carry that question into your conversations, your work, your recovery, your relationships, and your decisions. When irritation rises, pause. When fear begins creating a future that does not exist, return to the present. When you feel yourself shrinking to fit another person's expectations, remember, the light you were created to express. Your awareness is sacred ground. Be mindful of what you repeatedly place there. If you continually feed your mind with fear, comparison, resentment, and limitation, those things will begin shaping the world you experience. But when you nourish your awareness with truth, love, gratitude, service, and the presence of God, you create an inner environment where your greatest expression can emerge. You do not have to chase a higher frequency. Become present. Awareness will reveal what is lowering your inner condition and show you what must be released. It will bring you back to the choice that reaction tried to take away. To be aware is to be alive. And to live awake is to stop wasting the moment trying to become someone life has already placed within you. You are here, you are breathing, life is living you now. Not when everything is healed, not when every question is answered, not when other people finally understand you. Now, be still. Know, I am, God is, life is, and from that awareness, allow the greatest expression of life that you can be to enter this world through you. I'm Terrence Marcus. This is Higher Powered Living. And until the next time, you are the light. Let it shine.